Do you know what a heart wall is? Our guest today, award winning author Farzin Mazinani, explains how a heart wall can prevent us from truly enjoying the journey to success, how anger, anxiety, and depression can steal our present moments, and how we can live a more impactful life by releasing trapped emotions and beliefs that no longer serve us. Farzin is a holistic wellness practitioner and a transformational alignment coach dedicated to helping high achievers avoid burnout and embrace a path of joy and ease rather than the relentless hustle and grind. Hi, Farzin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure for us because you are a transformational alignment coach. You help high achievers avoid burnout. But one of the things that is so special about you that attracted me towards you is that you actually help people understand how the heart wall is preventing them from enjoying a life of success. What is this heart wall? Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a good question because a lot of people haven't even heard about this concept. We don't know anything about it. And that was the same for me. I had a couple of breakthroughs to be able to find what heart wall is and what it does. So the first one was when I was looking for the joy. I was looking for it everywhere. In the books at the time, 40 years ago, there was no internet. So I had to go through a lot of books. So I had thousands of books in my personal library. I went through a lot of paths. I couldn't find the joy element on the outside world. So I had to go inside. So I trapped myself in a room, a windowless room, to be able to find that joy and happiness. What is the meaning of joy? Because I badly wanted to find the answer. So I came out of that room after about close to 5 days. I lost the sense of time because it was pure darkness and pure silence. At the end of that process, I had an experience that changed the direction of my life. That was as my eyes were closed and there was absolute darkness. All of a sudden, I started feeling the heat from inside. I started sweating. I started to feeling the shake in my body. And all of a sudden, there was light and there was sound, the inner music. And it was playing inside me, not outside, because outside everything was silent and everything was dark on the outside. But I could see the light, different colors of light, and the joy that was coming out of it. So I discovered that all the joy that I was looking for on the outside world, that was actually inside. So I was looking for it in the wrong place. So that was the first breakthrough moment that I had in my life. So I came to life, went through a lot of ups and downs. And what happened was I injured my back at work. And when I do that, usually it goes away after a while because it's a muscle injury or something like that. But mine was different. It lasted for 15 years and it's chronic pain. So chronic pain means it's lasting for then 6 months. And we know that our cells regenerate. It means that when we have a moment like that, when we have an injury, our cells regenerate. It means that they go out of the body after a while and then new cells replace them. But for me, it was a little bit different. So I was tolerating that pain on a regular basis. So for 15 years, I had to tolerate the back pain, the frozen shoulder. I had to go to therapy to find someone to release the frozen shoulder and I could proceed with life. And so what happened was a friend of mine came in and said that I might be able to help you. And she released some trapped emotions out of my body that was happening at the time of the accident, because I had that moment that you feel that you cannot support your family, you're losing your job, you have those kind of moments of fear and so on. So you develop those kind of trapped emotions in your body. And then that was causing that pain. And then the other thing that she did, she released my heart wall. She said that heart wall is a defense mechanism for us to protect our heart. And so based on her description from the heart wall, she said that more than 93% in the world have the heart wall. And it is a very new concept to me. I didn't know anything about it. But as she proceed with the releasing the heart wall, I felt that sometimes you have those moments that something happens within you. You don't feel it right away, but during the time you feel the effects of whatever happened. So that was developing within me and started my new path. I decided to go through that path and help others through that process as well. And I might need to explain a little bit more about the heart wall and how it works, because it's a very crucial information for many people. And so wall is basically what we create to protect our heart, because heart is a very sensitive organ in our body, and because it's sensitive, sometimes we get those cracks on our heart. It is called broken heart syndrome.
Are
And
these real cracks or emotional cracks you're referring to? And also, when you're saying heart wall, is it a physical wall that is being built up, or is it like a emotional, metaphorical sense you mean?
yeah, that is something that needs to be explained. So I start with the cracks. So we sometimes feel that it is just when we say that my heart is broken, what happens is that we feel the emotion and somebody has done something to us. So we feel that in our heart. But there was a Japanese scientist who was a physician, and he found that there are some cracks on our heart. Like when your bone is cracked, you go to X-ray, they find those fine lines that shows the crack. They took the picture of the heart and they noticed that there are some cracks like that on the heart as well. So there is a medical term called broken heart syndrome. And the interesting thing is that the symptoms are exactly like heart attack. So if you have that feeling of heart attack, you go to the hospital, they don't know if it's a broken heart syndrome or it is a heart attack. So they have to examine your heart and figure it out with the equipments that they have. But the symptoms are exactly the same. So our heart is that sensitive, and heart is the center core of our being as well, based on the research that HeartMath Institute has done. For each message that goes from the brain to the heart, 9 messages go from the heart to the brain. It shows the heart is in charge, not our mind. It might be odd, but there are a lot of research done in that area for people who are interested to get more information. Heart is very sensitive, so we have to protect it. How do we protect it? When there is a trauma, when there is something that is bothering us, what do? Our subconscious mind builds a shelter. It's like a bomb shelter. There is something happening in the country. We are under attack and the planes are shedding bombs. So we go to the bomb shelter. And then imagine that 10 years has passed and we are still living in that bomb shelter. The war is over for a long time. We are still living in that bomb shelter because we don't have any communication with outside world. We have been living in that bomb shelter for a long time. So that is the heart wall is. It is the defense mechanism to protect us when there is a problem or challenge or trauma in our life, in our relationships and so on. But the problem is that it stays with us. So we are in a self-made prison, living in a society. We are not connecting with ourselves. We are not connecting with others properly. And what is it made of? You asked if it's physical or if it's emotional or energetic or something like that. It is made of trapped emotions. Trapped emotions are unprocessed emotions. Sometimes I give you an example. We might have that experience that we might, in our relationship, we have that betrayal experience. Somebody betrays us, and then we have that emotion. We think about it. We use our prefrontal cortex to just mentalize it, go through the scenario and so on. We don't process that emotion completely. So our subconscious mind says that I'm going to store it somewhere in the body and I'm going to deal with it later. So we carry that trap emotion of betrayal, and it affects our life. Our next relationship is affected by that, because it's like a filter. We carry that vibration. The same thing is, for example, anger. we are driving back home from work and we're tired and somebody just cut us off in the traffic and we get mad. We start swearing and we get mad and then we think about it. We talk to other people about what happened and stuff. So we mentalize that situation and it gets it stuck in our body because we didn't process it completely. We didn't let it go easily. So that trap emotion of anger we carry somewhere in our body. Let's say in our colon or in our, let's say in our heart or somewhere in our body, we carry that emotion. The size of that emotion is the size of a tennis ball. And we carry that vibration with ourselves until it is released, and it doesn't release by itself. So most of us carry more than 200 trapped emotions within our body. And it is painting the picture of our life. It means that when I'm feeling unworthiness, it is an emotion. When I'm feeling depression, it is an emotion that I'm carrying that is giving me those experiences. When I feel grief, the same thing. I had a bad experience. Maybe there was some loss in my family and I wasn't happy about it. I get depressed and I feel that pain and I carry that sense of grief in my body as a trapped emotion. And it paints the picture of my life. Every one of us carry more than two of those trapped emotions based on the research that Dr. Bradley Nelson has done. And we use those materials to protect our heart in the time of trauma. And then we live in that bomb shelter, the self-made prison. What it does is that when we have that kind of heart wall, what happens is that it limits our relationship with ourselves. It limits our relationship with others. Sometimes we feel that we judge ourselves, we criticize ourselves, we don't forgive ourselves with the things that we've done. The reason is that we don't have that kind of open heart to be able to do that. So the criticism about ourselves and others is the result of the heart wall that we have. So when I release the heart wall, what happens is that it is like getting out of prison. It is like facing life with joy and ease. Because what we do is, I give you an example of a child. A child is in the playground, playing, going through the ride. Sometimes it's a slide, sometimes it's swing, and they are communicating with each other. They are laughing and they are loud and they're playing. They're joyful. Everything is fine, and they have the protection and support of the family. Family provides everything, or the caregivers provide everything for the child, and they are happy. And all of a sudden, we go to school. It's time to go to school now. So we go to school. What happens? We have to sit down straight. We have to start learning. We have to listen to the teacher for an hour or so. We are not used to that. And then we go to the yard, we get pushed over from the other guys or girls or something like that. We are not used to that. It's a new experience. And we develop a sense of wall between ourselves and others, because before we thought that life is friendly, life is my friend, I'm enjoying the life, I'm enjoying the relationship with others. But after, we feel that we have to protect ourselves. It is not the same. We might get pushed from side, from the back, from the front. Everybody can harm us. So I have to protect myself. So bring that guard up. And then what happens is that we go through life again, and we go through trauma and drama in relationships and at work and stuff like that. We face it again and again. So we protect ourselves. We're building that heart wall. And then that's why sometimes we feel lost in life. We go through a lot of achievements to find that inner joy that we were looking for at the childhood. Because society tells us, if you go and study and have a degree and go work in somewhere and go up on the ladder of success in a corporation or something like that, you're going to be happy. So we go through that. And then what happens is that they call it midlife crisis. We have all those, but we're still empty. We're not happy. Why? Because our heart is closed. Because we don't have that sense of connection with ourselves. And then when I don't have enough love for myself, that is a limit, that how much I can receive love from others.
Let's talk about that, because you brought up a really good point about not having love for yourself. Some of us know that. Some of us don't even know that's the case. If that is the case, and if we don't have enough love for ourselves, what are the first few steps we can take to not be that way?
Okay, so that is a very good question, because A lot of us might know that we don't have enough love for ourselves, but we don't know what to do. Everybody says that love yourself, but how? Nobody gives us a clue. What can we do to be able to do that? So I'm just going to give you and the audience and the viewers an interesting point of view. And that point of view is that I talked about those trapped emotions. So if I know that I'm not my physical body, what happens? Because some of us think that I'm just like this, the appearance that I have, whatever. I stand in front of the mirror and I see myself in there, and I believe that I'm that person who's standing in front of the mirror, just the physical aspect of me. And then what happens is that let's say I cut my hand and put it in front of me. What happens? I'm a different person? No, I am the same person. I'm not just the physical aspect of me. So let's look at the other aspect, which is emotional aspect. Am I an emotional aspect of me? What if I change my emotions from anger to tolerance? Am I a different person? No, I'm the same person having different emotions. So I'm not my emotions. What about my mental aspect? Sometimes some people, Descartes says that I think, so I am. I am what I think. So sometimes we think that we are just our thoughts. What happens if I start the process and close my eyes and have no thought? Does it mean that I'm not there anymore? But I know that I'm there. So what is it that is there? It's a consciousness behind all those layers, physical, emotional, mental layers. Those are just layers. Those are just the layers of clothing that we are wearing. We are the consciousness at the core, and we are wearing those layers. So what happens if I go out and there's a little bit on my clothing? Let's say I'm wearing a white shirt and I go out and it gets dirty. It can be washed. So the emotions that I am facing and carrying with myself, the stains that I'm carrying with myself is stuck on my emotional layer. I'm not that emotion. When I say I'm angry, we'd better change it to say, let's say, we can say that I'm carrying the energy of anger, but it doesn't mean that I am angry. We don't associate ourselves with that emotion because we know that it's just a stain. So when you look at yourself in that way, that I'm carrying more than 200 of those emotions, and the other people are carrying more than 200 of those emotions, it means that I am operating based on those emotions. If I have the emotion of, I'm operating based on that emotion. It's the frequency that I'm carrying. So it affects my feelings, it affects my decisions, it affects everything. So it's like a filter. So my behavior is based on those emotions, and I'm carrying those emotions, but those are just the stains. It's not me. When you look at yourself that way, you can accept those. You can forgive yourself. You don't blame yourself because you got dirty, your shirt got dirty, you went outside, your shirt got dirty. You just wash it because it's not you. So when I know that, I start developing that compassion towards myself, and that is the meaning of self-love. And then you start that process for others as well, because it all comes with the awareness that who we are and what is the layers that we are carrying. And it's like a light. You go to a room that is dark, you cannot see anything. All of a sudden you turn the switch on, the light is on, you see everything. So that is the light that comes on, that dissolves all that darkness. So when you examine yourself a little bit more under the light, you see those stains. And then that is the first step for removing them as well.
A lot of times, logically and intellectually, we understand that we need to forgive ourselves. Logically and intellectually, we understand that this is just how I am feeling, but this is not who I really am. But the disconnect between our intellect and our heart, that's where the problem is. Right? Intellectually, we know that we should or shouldn't be doing many things, but emotionally, we can't help ourselves. So for someone who's technically, logically, intellectually understands that I need to forgive myself and move on for whatever things they have done in the past that's holding them back, but they're having trouble accepting it emotionally, what are some things they can do to bridge that gap?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, what I do for people is that I release those emotions. When I'm working with someone one on one, I release those trapped emotions. And they are all stored, the address is stored in our subconscious mind. So, it's like a database that has all those information. When I connect with one's database, which is the subconscious mind, I grab the address and release those. I use the medical magnets and some processes based on the emotion code and some modalities that I have created for people to release those, and has a big impact for people in their life. The weight is off their shoulder. The same thing goes with the heart wall as well. But what people can do themselves if they don't have access to those kind of help, I've created a process that I call RISE. R stands for recognize. Because first step is recognizing it. Before recognizing it, we don't even know it exists. We don't know what we don't know. What is the process for recognizing something? One of the processes is repetitive patterns. When we have a repetitive pattern in our life that happens all the time, we know that something is behind it. It might be a behavior, it might be a habit, it might be an emotion like anger and sadness and fear and so on, unworthiness, whatever it is. We feel that emotion and we notice that it is repeating in our life. Journaling is a good way to just bring those to light. We just write down whatever we feel during the day, and then we find those repetitive patterns. So the first step is recognizing them. Sometimes it's not easy because we deny whatever that's related to us. Everybody says that you are like this and you are like that, but we just fight with them. Why do you say that? And then we don't want to accept it. But if we have an open mind, it's a clue that shows us that there is something that I can work on. And there's another clue as well. So I think life is a screen and the projector is inside. Whatever we experience outside is based on whatever that we are spreading, that we can see. So the experiences that we have on the outside is related to whatever we have inside. So if we see that life is gloomy and bad and stuff, it means that something on the inside is projecting that image on the outside and we can see it. So we can capture that. So whatever we believe on the outside world, we see and experience is a good point to start processing that on the inner. So that is the first part, recognize. What is the second part? Is I, means integrate. It stands for integrate. Why do we integrate something that we recognize? Because we usually do the opposite. We push it away. I find something about myself and then I deny it. I fight with it. I'm going to say, no, I don't want that. We just push it away. What happens when we push things away? They get stronger. We are giving more energy to them and then they get stronger and stronger. So it is not the best way to go through that. What is the best way? Is to accept it as something that is helping us to grow. Like when you go to the gym, you are into bodybuilding. So you know that you go to the gym and lift your weights to build muscle. So the weights are heavy, but it is helping you to build muscle. So sometimes the things that we face about ourselves might be something that we don't like, but we know that it is there for a reason. It is helping us to grow. So it's like a sign on the road which says dangerous bend, slow down. We are driving fast on a road and then we see that sign. We consider that sign as a good thing. Why? Because it is helping us to focus on the road, not on the sign, not on the valley that we are driving beside, on the road. So we just grab the steering wheel stronger and focus on the road because we know that we have to pay attention. So those kind of things that we face about ourselves are there to help us to guide our path, to illuminate our path. So in order to help them, to get the help from them, we have to recognize their value. They are helping us to put our focus in the right place. If I'm seeing sadness and depression, it means that I have to focus on finding more joyful moments in my life. It doesn't mean that I have to focus on battling with sadness. Same thing goes with abundance. Some people are in debt and they have financial problems. If they think about their financial problems, they are putting their attention on the financial problem, what happens is that the financial problem grows and grows. If they do the reverse, instead of financial problem, they see that they have financial problems, so they say that now that I have the financial problem, I focus on how I can make money. And they start changing their focus to the right direction. That is just the guidance that we have. So integrate means accepting that guidance. So what is the third part of that protocol that I've created? It is surrender or shedding. It means that sometimes we carry those loads, but we don't need to carry those loads. We need to carry the lessons, not the whole load. It's like going to the store and let's say you need something for your kitchen, a mixer or something like that. You go to the store and buy that mixer and bring it to your kitchen and take it out of the box, and you store the box in the basement just in case that you want to pack it up again and stuff like that. And then use that mixer, and after a couple of years that mixer is gone, it is broken, and we just throw it out. But we still keep that box, and we go to the basement, we have a lot of boxes that there is no use, and we fill our house with those empty boxes. That is what we usually do. We fill our inner or house with all those things that are not necessary to carry, so we can throw them away. I say that I am carrying that kind of stress or anxiety, for example. That is an emotion. So I'm carrying that emotion. We notice that first, and then we recognize it and integrate it. I say that it is showing me I have to put my focus on the opposite of that. What is the opposite of stress? It can be acceptance and calmness and being relaxed or something like that. So we put our attention on that. And then we release the rest. We don't need to carry that stress. We can say, you can leave now. I used whatever I could from your existence. Now the rest is gone. So we let it go. That is processing, finishing the process that we started. We never finished that process. So the problem with the trapped emotions, that is emotions. We had that emotion. We never finished the process. But in the release or on the third part of the protocol, we just have that chance to release it. So the S is for surrendering it, releasing it, shedding it. And what is the next step for the rise is E, that stands for engagement. Now that thing is gone, we are going to be replacing it with something that is effective in our life. It is usually the opposite of whatever we experienced before. Now that it's gone, it's a chance. We have the choice to engage with something that gets us closer to wherever we want to go as a goal. So when we use that process, a rise process, it helps us to go smoothly in life, not with the burnout. Because usually what happens is that you want something, as you said, it is not easy. So you know that you are in that situation that you are going around a circle. It is the safe mode. It is something that we all experience, that we want to stay safe and we want to stay in a place that nothing is threatening us. So we get trapped in that situation. But we know that it is not the best place to be. We want to achieve something in life. We have all our aspirations. We have something that we all came here for. We are looking for that element of impact in our life. So instead of that safe zone or comfort zone, we start to get out of it. So what are the options for coming out of the comfort zone? Some people say that you have to try to do something. I say trying means I'm not going to be doing it. Trying is an excuse. Because when I say I try to do things tomorrow, I'm not going to be doing it. We all have that experience. Trying doesn't work. And the second option is that they say that you're going to be doing your best. And then I start doing my best to get out of the comfort zone. And then soon as I face a barrier that is larger than me, I stop and say that barrier is greater than whatever power that I have. So I cannot proceed. So I stop again. So that is doing my best doesn't work in that case. And some people say that you have to say, I'm going to be doing it no matter what. And that is the fighter's perspective. We fight. We go and achieve the things that we want. And that is a good thing. But the problem is that it comes with a cost. So what is the cost of that? We are battling with our subconscious mind, because subconscious mind is all those programmings, all those the things that has brought us up to here. the self-image that we have, the habits that we have, the emotions that we carry, they're all stored in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, when we think about something, conscious thinking, when it's happening, for every second, there are 20 to 40 neurons in our brain that is fired when we do something. So the processing power is 20 beats per second. So what about the subconscious mind? The subconscious mind is doing something, 20 million to 40 million neurons are fired in the brain per second. So it is almost a million times stronger than our subconscious decisions. That's why when we want to do something, it is not matched with the image that is in our subconscious mind. It's not matched with the self-image that we have about ourselves. So we have a big fight. It's not easy. But some people say that we have to go through hustle and grind and fight and fight. But the problem is that it comes with a cost. We might win the fight, but we lose the battle. We might win the battle, we lose the war. We lose the war. Why? Because we are successful, we are on top, we have everything that people look at us and say that I wish I had those kind of things in my life. They admire us for our achievements, but we are standing on top feeling empty. That emptiness sometimes comes with the emotion of not being happy. We are not satisfied inside. We are on top. We have everything we want, but we are not happy inside. Sometimes it comes with the health problems. We achieved a lot, but we are not healthy because we went through a lot of stress and anxiety to build the business that we have. So it takes a toll on our body. And sometimes it comes with another thing, which is relationship. It costs our relationships because we didn't spend enough time to take care of our relationships. So we are on top, but we feel empty. So that is the cost of that kind of success with hustle and grind. But the question is there a better way?
Is there a better way?
Yeah, because if there is a better way, then we're going to be enjoying the ride. We're going to be enjoying the journey to success, not just fighting and be a wounded warrior.
But it's possible to enjoy the overall journey. Like, for example, I could be taking my family to Disneyland in California, and it's a road trip. And from Austin, Texas, Disneyland, California is very long distance, right?
Mhm.
We all know we are going to Disneyland. We all are very excited. We've been looking forward for months, right? So we are excited about the journey. But the fact the drive is long and my back is hurting and you have to stop 12 times because the kids need to pee and now we are hungry, those things could be annoying. Those things could be stressful. So why can't entrepreneurship be the same way? That's the way I look at it, which is that the journey is the Disneyland, which is what we want to go to, but the individual days, the individual stops could be stressful, right?
Yeah, that can be stressful, but the problem is that when they accumulate during the time, we might tolerate that stress for a while, but sometimes it accumulates and we see the symptoms. In one of the areas, it might be your health, wealth, relationship, or happiness. Those four areas are the four tires of a car. If one of those tires are flat, what happens? We cannot drive far. We have to fix it. So it usually shows itself in one of those areas because we were doing it based on an automatic response, automatic process, and then we tolerate that stress, build up that stress, being in the fight or flight mode all the time, protecting ourselves, being on our toes, be careful about what's happening. So it takes a toll. That adrenaline, cortisol that is in our body is affecting everything. When we are in the stress mode, our immune system is not working properly. Why? Because stress mode is fight or flight. You are in the jungle and a tiger comes. You have to direct your energy into your feet and your hand to fight the feet to escape. That's called fight or flight. So it's a chain reaction in our body. Automatically, all the energy goes to our hand and arms and feet. So it takes the energy from the other organs. For example, it is something that when I thought about it, I said that it makes sense. Sometimes we are in a fear mode. We are scared. Something happens, we are scared. All of a sudden, something happens, we are scared, and we wet our pants. Why? What is the reason for that? The reason is that the system that we have to control that output is not working anymore because there is no energy in it, because all the energy went to our feet and our arms. There's no energy left. The same thing goes for our immune system. When I'm in that mode, it doesn't matter if I'm having a headache or something like that. our immune system is out of cricket. It doesn't work anymore because the priority is to escape in that moment. But the thing is that we experience that fight or flight mode on a daily basis with the events that are happening in our life. It's a stressful life when we look at it that way. But is it a stressful life? It all depends on our perspective.
Perspective. I love it.
Yeah, I give you an example. If I say that life is harsh, we know about the reticular activating system. Whatever we pay attention, we get more of it. If we buy a car, a new car, we see that car all the time in the roads, and we wonder what happened, where those cars were there before, I couldn't see them. But we pay attention to something that is important to us. So what happens is that if I say that life is miserable and life is harsh, I have to protect myself, I get more of that because I pay attention more on that aspect of life. And then I'm always in a stress mode. But I'm going to change my definition. I say that life is my friend. Life is friendly. Then what happens? I know that if I receive something, it might be ugly, but it is a gift in an ugly paper because my best friend, who is called life, is giving that to me. So our perspective changes, everything starts to shift. And the same goes for other definitions. For example, the definition for success. If my definition for success is reaching my goal, I ask a lot of people, what is your definition for success? Because we all have different definitions. Most of them say that when I reach my goal, I feel successful. And I tell them, how many times in the past you were in that stage that you've reached your goal, in that momentary state of reaching your goal? And they say very few. So I say that you mean that you have been miserable most of your life. But let's change that definition. We say that definition of success is moving towards a worthy goal with joy. What happens is that with this definition, if you have a goal that you enjoy moving towards, as long as you are moving towards that goal, you're successful. So you can be successful most of the time. So change your definition, change your life. Sometimes it is like changing the label from problem to challenge. On the problem side, you focus on the negative side of it. But the challenge, you're focusing on the positive side of it. It's the same thing. You just change the label. It can be as easy as that.
Change your definition, change your life. I really like it. It encapsulates so many things in that small sentence there. How do listeners find you?
I have a website called Joyful Fix. And the reason for that name is that the process can be joyful. The change and transformation can be joyful. And what is transformation? Transformation is playing in a different league. Because sometimes we are in a junior league and a coach comes and gives us some clue and tips and tricks, and we play better, improving our game or something like that. But sometimes we go to a level and we are far better than the league that we are playing. So they put us in the professional league or the national league. So we're playing in a different league. That is transformation. That's different. It's not just a little bit improvement here and there. And that transformation can be joyful as well. So I call that Joyful Fix. Joyful Fix is my website. If people go to the contact page of the website, there is an option so they can record their voice in there. I receive that voice in a private message and secure message, and I can connect with them and we can have free consultation and so on. But there is another thing in there in the contact page as well. I've created a quiz. So that quiz called Life Quality Assessment. So it gives them a score. What is the score for your life quality? It gives them the score. They know which area of life they have to put their attention on, because sometimes we don't know. Those are the 4 tires: health, wealth, relationship, and happiness. We have to know which one is flat to work on it. Otherwise, we cannot proceed. And they can use that free quiz to find themselves what is their score. And some people, over 93% of people carry heart wall. They have a heart wall, and that separates them from whatever they are here for. Because sometimes we ask that question, why I'm here for? What is my role in this life? And we cannot find the answer easily unless we have better connection with ourselves. Our heart should be open to be able to find the answer to that. That's why we cannot find easy answer to that question. When I remove the heart wall for people, it changes basically everything. It's get out of prison. The self-prison that we made for ourselves in our life we are free out of it. And then we
Love it.
experience life with a much better potential. We have a lot of potential. We can express ourselves. We can be ourselves because all of us are unique. And that uniqueness separates us from others. But at the same time, that love connects us to each other. So we are all a combination, just like a cell in a body might be doing a separate thing, but it is part of the whole body. We are like that. We are different cells, but we are all connected. So we can experience that when we move those inner barriers.
It's a beautiful message, Farzin. It's very useful as well because somebody who works with entrepreneurs day in, day out, this is something that we all struggle with. We all carry emotions, whether it be of success or failures or betrayals or heartbreaks. And intellectually, we know we shouldn't carry on with them. We should let them go, but we just don't know how to. And the concept that you presented today about an actual heart wall and how many emotions, trapped emotions there are, and how we're willingly choosing to be a prisoner in our own lives, I think it's transformational. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.